Shalom, fam, and welcome to Awakening to Yah. My guest today is loving mother of three wonderful daughters, a supporting wife, and a reformed witch. And this is, of course, what we're going to be talking about today. Now, before we get started, I just want to let everybody know any comments that any of you guys have, leave until the end of the video. So without further ado, here is Michelle. So, Michelle, how are you today? Or what
Yeah,
time is it there where you are now in London, right?
it's about 10 past 10 bedtime.
10 past 10 bedtime. Perfect. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with us. So I wanted to ask you about and of course, everybody is interested in this topic. You don't get many witches coming out of the craft and wanting to actually, elaborate and discuss, what that's about. So if you don't mind me asking about, how did you get into the witchcraft? I guess the craft, I guess they call it.
I think it started because my granddad passed away.
Oh, okay. When was this?
And
How old were you then?
I was only 9.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Right. So
and
this is
he
early
meant
on.
an awful lot to me.
Absolutely.
And because at that time I believed in God, but obviously I was only a child,
Right.
kind of blamed God, you know.
Mm.
And I think,
That makes sense. That's a normal reaction for a lot of people to
mm,
get out of the faith for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and then that sort of started me in this like negative view, I
Mm.
guess, of. So then
Absolutely.
when the opportunity kind of arose to be rebellious, I took it
Right.
and ran with it.
Totally.
um,
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
um,
it seems to kind of blend in where you get things introduced into your life that is sort of makes you get into that rebellious type attitude. What were the kind of introductory elements that led you into rebellion initially? Not witchcraft, but the rebellion side of things.
I think it was just like being in an all-girls Catholic school.
Oh,
Um,
okay, gotcha.
and we were all like, watching everything then, and The Craft had just come out. I don't know if you remember that film, The Craft.
No, no, describe that. I've heard of
Um,
it
I
briefly.
think it was like 1998,
Okay,
maybe.
okay.
And had a few quite famous actresses in it, and they all were just teens, and they got together and they started doing magic, and it was all working, and then it all sort of goes a bit like dark towards the end.
I see. So
Yeah.
obviously, it's kind of like an introductory film or concept for kids to be like, "Hey, look, this is something you might be able to get into, and it's fun." All
Yeah,
that stuff,
made it look really exciting, So
obviously.
then it wasn't long before we were like, in a bookshop and finding things,
Oh yeah,
good books
right.
and tarot cards, and really getting
Hmm.
into it.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that
Mm,
it's interesting, isn't it, how so-called the universe, shall we say, it
mm,
introduces you into that movie that you watched,
mm-hmm.
and then the craft, and then you get books suddenly appearing,
Yeah,
so it's kind of building, isn't it?
yeah. For
There's
me, it was the tarot
forces.
cards. We'd gone into like
Oh, I see.
Waterstones, I think it was a bookshop, and it was almost like
Gotcha.
they were glowing at me, like buy me.
Yeah.
I didn't even buy the book that went with him, the instruction book. I
Mm,
just bought the pack of cards,
right,
and
right.
it all started from that purchase.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
very common. Yeah, it's funny. I just read a book recently of ex New Ager. He's a yoga master, and anyway, he said his introduction into getting into that stuff was there was this book that kind of just screamed out at him in a
Mm.
bookstore. So
Makes you
it's like
wonder,
that, right?
doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
does. It
Mm.
certainly does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, what after that, what was sort of the building? So you had the craft and then the tarot cards. So did you initially get into the tarot cards, like really good delving into what they're about, or did you have an experience kind of like how does that work?
Um, to be honest with you, it was a while ago, so I do struggle to remember the fine details.
No, that's
But,
okay. I get it.
but I know that me and my friends, there was 4 of us,
Hmm.
we're all really into it. We started to sort of get some books. There was one called Teen Witch that was like
That's what
probably the main one, that's
yeah, I'm
kind of
reading it right
started us
now,
off.
actually. It's quite interesting.
And so we started to do, I think we sort of did a lot of like circles, and we were like because it's difficult, because for the 20 years I was a solitary witch. You know, the only time I
Right.
was with other, well, if you'd call them witches, my teenage friends,
Right. Right.
was this short period of time, you know, and then we all
I
went
see.
off, and it was only me that stayed interested in it all.
So are most witches, are they solitary, or do they join into what's known as a coven, I believe?
I think it's like a bit of both, you know.
Right. Right.
I would be interested to hear from someone who was in
Yeah.
a coven and stayed, you
I
know.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that there was I used to watch American Horror Story. There was this
Oh yeah.
TV show. Yeah, and they had one of the seasons was a coven of witches. So
Mm,
they're trying to popularize that idea. At the
yeah.
time, I didn't know that that was actually a legitimate thing, but apparently witchcraft is like one of the most growing religions in America. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't realize it's that big. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. To continue on. So after the initial basically doing things on your own, when was that moment where did you get like what was the next stage of getting into witchcraft?
Yeah, so I don't really know how the next stage developed, but I basically moved on to a different lot of books, because I was
Oh, I see.
always,
Yeah.
I had a bit of a thirst for it. So I was reading
Right.
more books and trying to, I suppose, like in my mind, gain more control and more power.
Right. Right.
So I started reading a book by Raymond Buckland, and it was The Complete Guide to Witchcraft. And it
I
was in
see.
that book that sort of taught you, you know, the more ritualistic side of it, the astral projection,
Right.
all of that was in there, and like little voodoo dolls, but they were called something else. They were called poppets or something like that.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
all of the what were known as divination tools, is that a good word to use for that? Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, actually, this would be a good time to ask you. So, what is the definition of witchcraft, and what would that actually entail?
Well, for me, just from my personal experience, and obviously I
Yeah.
don't know if it's 100% accurate,
Right. Right.
is Wicca seemed to be like nothing demonic happened while I was doing Wicca.
Mm-hmm.
It was very much nature orientated, but
Right.
there was
Yes.
still the using the witchcraft items and using the witch's calendar. But then when
Yes.
it got to witchcraft, that was
Yeah.
when it was more ritualistic, and you know, like I did that dedication ritual, and then I started seeing strange things and
I
experience strange
see.
things all around me. So there must
Gotcha.
be some sort of step, you know.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it
yeah,
seems that and this kind of goes with other modalities as well, or professions in the new age type movement, because like Wicca, witchcraft, and other modalities are kind of similar to the idea that reading from the teen witch book mentions that essentially witches are protectors of nature and of the earth and things like that, and animals, and so they're guardians basically, and
mm,
so they have their energy from the universe. So of course,
yeah,
witches aren't going to. I believe that there's a spectrum of them. It seems there's the spectrum that are witches that believe that they have white magic, right? I assume that you identified with that lot. It's not that you came out as like a Satanist witch. That
no, I really didn't, you know, think I
right?
was doing anything bad.
Absolutely.
But I can completely see how it would be like a natural progression if like a coven had approached me,
Of
not
course,
saying that they were like satanic witches, how it would have
that's
been
right.
quite easy to join, and then
Absolutely.
realise probably before, you know,
Yeah.
it's probably a bit
Yeah.
too late, you
Yeah, it,
know, to
it
back out.
makes yeah, it makes sense that obviously it would be a gradual thing where you
Yeah,
kind of get introduced in these things, and you have the sense of power you feel from those things that you're tampering with using. I think it's what spells and hexes and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um,
because those like poppets and stuff, they
right.
were, you know, spells to sort of like, you know, harm people. So it was definitely
Gotcha.
going to that level.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I'm curious. So did you actually take part in spells? Is that something that
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I was doing spells all the time, like for the littlest thing.
Okay, so could you
Yeah.
describe like how that actually works? That would be fascinating because
Yeah, if I
yeah.
can remember correctly. Basically I had you're supposed to have like an athame or a theme. People say it different.
Okay.
But
Oh,
mine
was
was
that that
just like,
dagger?
yeah, that's the dagger
Right.
thing.
Yes.
And obviously you can have a proper dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Um why you would, but then
Like a
that's really
ceremonial
dodgy.
dagger or something like
Yeah.
that? Yeah,
I
right.
had this like fancy like letter opener that I used.
Oh, okay, okay.
um, and that is what like you draw your circle with,
Oh, I see.
and but you're told that circle protects you.
Right, right. What's the
Um,
circle drawn? What's the actual, is it just literally a circle, or is it the
I
pentacle,
think you can
or?
do it with salt. I remember when I was a lot younger doing it with salt,
I
and
see.
because that's what we'd seen on the TV.
Oh, okay, right.
But then I'm pretty sure as the years went on, I was visualizing the whole time. So I was actually visualizing like me drawing a sort of energy field with this
Oh.
dagger
So you
around me.
were using your mind's eye to draw out this.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
talking
see.
to like there was lots of meditation involved and talking to like the elements. And it just
Hmm.
sounds proper crazy now.
No,
But
no, no.
yeah,
It makes sense now, like from the context of, so you're clearing yourself out through meditation, I would say. Is that
yeah, I was meditating a lot.
right?
And different like scenarios within the meditation. So there was
Right.
different ones like meeting an old guy with a crow and stuff like that. There was
Gotcha.
quite a few,
Yeah,
different
yeah.
ones involving like the chakras, I think.
Chakras. Right, right. That's
And
one thing. Oh
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
opening up the third eye and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
one thing I realized. Just the first thing when you see the Teen Witch, I don't have the picture available right now, but on the front cover, it actually has the yin and yang symbol on this
oh
teen
yeah,
Teen
yeah,
Witch book. So it just basically correlates that the new age material that people think about light workers and stuff like that is
mm,
actually directly associated with the whole witch thing. So yeah,
yeah,
that the same definitions apply, which is fascinating. So
mm.
so you mentioned that they draw the circle and they meditate, which empties the mind. So essentially, and then you said, so there, did you feel a presence come in? Was there like some sort of
Yeah, to be honest, after that dedication ritual,
right?
I never felt alone. Like I always felt
Oh
like
wow,
something was there.
mm,
And then
that's
I'd
interesting.
sometimes wake up and something would be right there, like in my face, and
No
always
way.
glowy eyes.
Oh wow.
Never seen anything like I know in the book I'm reading at the moment. They're
Yeah.
always saying that these things appear nice. Mine
Right.
never appeared nice. So, I
Well,
don't know what I was doing wrong, but
I guess that's a gift though,
yeah,
because
because I
instead
could
of
see
masking, yeah, the
the
truth, right?
hatred. It
It
was like
seems like,
feeling hatred
yeah.
was
Oh
coming off
wow.
these things. Yeah.
It seems like
Mm.
Yahweh was obviously helping you out on that one, right?
Yeah, maybe because I believed when I was younger. I don't know. Like somehow he was
I
still
think
there
so.
with me. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? I don't
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I
Mm.
agree the same thing, through
Mm.
my journey as well, to the new age and all that stuff. I always felt that, looking back on it, that
Mm.
things could have gotten worse. And he obviously was stepping in to make sure that it didn't go overboard. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. So you said that you always felt that they were sinister, but yet you didn't really put the pieces together that it was evil.
No, because basically I've always been very creative, very arty.
Right. Okay. Mm.
I've always sleepwalked as a child,
Oh,
like
wow,
lots of
okay.
little
Yeah.
things. And so I just thought I'm just
Right.
weird. I'm a
Totally. Yeah.
weirdo. And
No,
that
no, that
and
makes
I
sense.
could put a lot down to that, you know.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. I think that's a common trait for people that get into Wicca or any new age modality of any kind. They
mm,
believe they're the black sheep of society, and that what they do is weird, and people don't like them that much. So yeah, it's normal that we find things that are out there, and yeah, it's not evil. It's just different. But
yeah.
yeah, before we know obviously where all that comes from. So I'm curious, just want to go back for a second. Like, what was your relationship with the whole Catholic Church? Were you involved with the Catholic Church in the theology or anything, or was it just more your parents early on, or how did that work exactly?
My nan was Roman Catholic.
I
My
see.
mum and dad didn't believe.
Right. Okay.
But my mum had been to Catholic school, so she sort of knew what it was like in terms of getting a job after.
Oh,
so
okay.
so she put me in, sort of. So
Gotcha.
she went to church like every week to tick that box, but wasn't
Right.
really
Right. Right.
interested, if you know what
I
I
see.
mean.
I see. Yeah.
It
And I
was a
and I
fake Catholic.
Yeah, right, right. Well, I assume at this point, like, you understand, of course, that like the Roman Catholicism, I assume that it was kind of like a bridge that opened you up to be
Mm.
able to
Well,
interact with
yeah,
these
because
things. Yeah.
I think, really, with everything that goes on in there,
Mm.
It does look a bit ritualistic, doesn't it, in there?
It
So
does.
it
Totally.
was quite easy to accept. Oh, there's a cup here, and
Right.
it doesn't seem
Yeah.
too weird. It was like
Absolutely. Yeah.
acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, curious to go back, of course, because like that whole idea of like the circle and the salt that you
Yeah.
used and all the meditation and all that. So you say that the spirits that that you didn't feel alone afterwards, and you always
hmm
felt that evil. So I'm just curious about like what was the extent? What was the most like serious kind of spell that you would use, and what was the intention behind those spells?
The one that comes to my mind, which I had the most kind of negative repercussions
Hmm.
from,
Yeah.
was one where I was invoking Aphrodite,
Oh, okay.
and I had to like imagine this sort of golden light on me and stuff. I was normally
Wow.
always following some sort of guide, and some of the more
Interesting.
teeny spells I was taking into the ritualistic side of, so I was sort of mashing them together.
I see.
Uh,
I see.
um,
Yeah, it's fascinating. And it's interesting actually that the whole idea of in the Teen Witch book, this really high up there, witch. She mentions that you can mix Wicca with any other religion, so
yeah.
all the different things can you can mix your different modalities with witchcraft. So I guess
Yeah, because
that
I think the
yeah
invoking is in there, isn't it? It's just made to look a bit fluffy.
yeah for sure
Mm.
for
Yeah,
sure
so from that,
yeah
um, basically, because I didn't have a lot of confidence and I didn't
right
feel like I was like attractive to the opposite sex,
right
yeah, I did this whole like spell.
makes sense. Mm,
And like from my perspective, it was innocent,
of
it
course.
was like a love
Yeah.
spell, I suppose, to find um,
Right.
true love.
Absolutely.
But instead, what happened was, and it carried on right till, so I probably did this spell when I was about 16, but right
Mm.
until I was at uni,
Hmm.
I was having men come up to me and start saying the most graphic and pornographic
Oh.
stuff to me. I
Oh
want to do
wow.
this to you. I want to do that to you. And obviously, when you haven't got a lot of
Jeez.
confidence and
Yeah.
something's coming at you like that, you're like,
Right. Do
yeah.
you
So that
mean
got
do you mean
really weird.
uni, like university?
University, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I
So
was like probably about 19, 20 at this point.
so grown. Oh, 1920s university? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I've gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking of
yeah, so
university of like late 20s or something like that, but I guess you
oh,
went
it's
early.
probably different. Yeah, in the
I must have be
UK,
different. Yeah. Yeah, it must be different.
we leave school at like 16, and then you can go to like sixth form or college until 18. And then I did an extra year
Oh.
at art college, so I went to university at
Oh, wow.
19 and
That's
left at
fascinating.
22.
I didn't know that. Okay, that makes more sense then. Because I was like, wait, so you're saying that full-grown men are saying these things to you? I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, wait, no,
yeah. So
they were
they
older, they were younger. I mean,
probably my age. Yes, they were probably like 19, 20, something.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's normal behavior for any male that age. They're kind of going through their
So
issues.
it got to the point where other people started to notice that this is a
Right.
bit bizarre, like why is this happening
Absolutely.
to you? And I think that's the one that springs to mind, because it actually caused me a lot of problems then in
Right.
my marriage, because it actually
Mm.
made me a little bit averse to things in the bedroom, shall we say.
Oh, I see. Yes.
It
Yes.
really, it
Makes sense.
put me
Yeah,
off
and
massively.
I just want to mention that about your marriage. So that's your husband's Colin, right? Colin,
Hmm.
Colin Andrew, yeah. And when did you guys get together? Where was he also into the whole witch stuff, or New
Yeah,
Age, or how did that work?
I still sort of worry a little bit about it now, actually.
Oh, okay.
He won't mind me saying this,
No,
because
I'm sure it
obviously he's
won't.
been with me all the way through. But
Of course, of course.
that night I did the dedication ritual, I also
Right.
did a spell,
Oh,
and
I
it was
see.
from the film. I took it from the film Practical Magic,
Oh,
and
okay.
it
I've never heard
was
of that one. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that, with
No, I
Sandra
haven't.
Bullock and Nicole Kidman.
Oh, I
Um,
see. Okay. No.
and it was basically to you like listed really unique characteristics that you wanted your other half to have,
Oh,
um,
interesting.
so
Wow.
that it
Okay.
could, you knew exactly you were getting the right person,
Right. Right.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, I do.
So I did that, and I think, I don't know if it was that night or the night after, I had a dream that I met this
Right.
boy that I was going to marry.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see his face. His face was like blotted out, but he had blonde curtains.
Oh, okay.
And at the time, I didn't really think much of it because I'd just broken up with another boy. I started dating boys quite young.
That's
and,
it. Yeah.
But yeah, I met him 11 days after that spell.
Interesting. Wow. And
And
that's
I'd
your
asked for
husband
him
today.
yeah. And I'd
Yeah.
asked for him to be able to play the guitar. And it was all these qualities that
Wow.
he had.
Right.
So obviously, yeah. And I felt
That's
like really
fascinating.
early on I would marry him. But now looking back, I'm like, I always say to him, is, as Yah united us, or as,
Well, I think I
darker.
could put your conscience at ease on that one. The way I see that is that they can tap into obviously the plan that Yah has, I
That's
guess, of
it.
like seeing
Yeah.
that, right? So yeah, I don't think that they create any of that stuff. Like that's
No,
not
that's
what they
it. So
do.
it's always like on the back of my mind. I'm like 1998. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I met
absolutely.
him. Yeah. So, oh no, it must have been 1999. Must have been 1999.
Okay, cool,
Mm-hmm.
cool. So was he was he into the witchcraft, or did you get him into it?
I think I might have got him into it.
Oh, okay. So you were the influence initially, were you?
Yeah. Yeah, I have
That
apologized for
happens.
that.
So I've had,
Repented for that. But yeah, I
yeah, I'm
used
sure.
to sort of get him to sort of dress more in black and wear a pentagram, and because I was
Oh, okay,
young,
yeah. Right, yes, yeah, of course.
The other thing was, he was then training to be a medium. But that was
Oh,
more
I
his family's
see.
influence, I think, than mine, because they were all like
Gotcha.
spiritualists,
Yeah,
So,
right.
but he started
Awesome.
doing that and, didn't feel right. And so
Right,
left.
right. Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay. So with let's go back to the whole how witchcraft works. We talked about spells. So what's the difference between a spell and a hex?
Well, I think it's just the intent,
Oh, I
really,
see. Okay. Yeah.
But obviously there's different ways of doing things. I mean,
Right.
I have known people to do, like, I've had it done on me. I've never done it to anyone else, but like the
Mm.
whole evil eye thing,
Oh, okay.
which is just like a curse just by giving someone the evils, basically. So you're like
Interesting.
chanting whatever in your head while you're,
Mm.
you know,
Wow.
giving the evils to someone.
Right.
But if I had gone down that route, it probably would have been via voodoo dolls, like if I had have done,
Mm.
but I
I see.
didn't.
So yeah, voodoo dolls, that's where you would use that doll to manipulate the person in the real life? Yes.
Yeah, so you make the doll visualizing the person that you're making it for, and you can stuff
Right.
it full of herbs and stuff that are
Mm.
relevant to whatever
Right.
you want to happen, and then
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's so yeah, it seems that witchcraft is geared to young people at first, where they lure them in through that, and then eventually they become higher up in the ranks of witches and all that. Because I guess a lot of people, they just believe that witches are kind of this subgroup of people. It's not really that popular. It's just something that people watch on TV and they want to be different. But there's
Yeah, like a bit of a
actually,
fad. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, but there's actually they have their own groups, their own meetups, like people sold out stadiums with about their craft and what they talk about. So these covens are like worldwide, right? And
Mm.
it's extremely
Yeah,
popular. So it's obviously about I guess empowerment. Would that be
I think
that's
so.
yeah,
Because like as a child, I never really felt like, I guess, I was in control. I didn't really feel very loved,
yeah, absolutely same,
so it sort of fitted, really,
of
like it
course.
gave me that confidence that I was lacking.
Yeah, of course, and
Yeah.
they're targeting, vulnerable children, of
Yeah,
course,
definitely.
obviously. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
So
13 and up, I would say.
yeah, of course.
Definitely. Yeah.
Did you? I'm curious. Did you have any run-ins or of any kind? Because you mentioned that you didn't know what evil was, but you did sense that there was something off about these spirits.
Mm.
But did you have any run-ins with maybe other people that were on sort of a different kind of witchcraft that was more dark, that what you were into? Did you sense that or have
No,
any experiences with other people like that? No? Okay.
no,
Right. So it was
no. I was
always
pretty
just white
much just
magic.
on my own, and
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's good though.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
it's
you didn't
good.
get.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it's
could have
great that you
been
didn't get into
whole
any
edge of
of the
legs,
crazy
couldn't
stuff.
it? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
well, let's move on about what happened that brought you to Yeshua, to Jesus. This
Yeah,
is
so
what it's all
basically,
about.
I was still thinking, it's all me. I'm just crazy. Stuff started to get physical, where I was feeling like my legs were being pulled while I was sleeping, weights on top of me.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was just getting really, really difficult to kind of lead a normal life. So
Absolutely.
I think at that point I was kind of putting it down to like psychosis,
Mm,
because I didn't really, you
yeah.
know, understand what was going on, because I still, for some reasons, not put the two together.
Right.
So it wasn't until I had my daughter,
Oh,
and the
okay.
stuff started happening and she was in the room with me, that I suppose
Mm,
I went into like, mama bear mode.
right.
And I
Of
thought, I
course.
can't have this for her, whatever it is, if it is
Right.
something actually happening, I can't
Absolutely.
have it happening to her.
Yes.
So
Makes all
I,
the
I
sense.
don't know if like, at that point maybe I cried out for help. I don't know. But then it
Gotcha.
wasn't long after that I had this just overwhelming feeling of love. And I
Right.
did not know what it was about, where it's come
Mm.
from. Just,
And you
yeah,
and you knew that that was something you've never probably experienced
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
So
like,
it stood out.
unconditional love that maybe
Right.
possibly my granddad might have felt for me, but like times a
Mm,
million. It
absolutely.
was like really like knock you down kind of feeling.
Of
Um,
course.
and um, and
It's
so that
beautiful.
stayed with me. I was like, what is that?
Right.
And then,
I
yeah,
bet.
so then I started searching then, because I wanted some answers, and
Amen.
that led me on the path to,
Amen.
trying to get my head around the fact that it could be Jesus, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. So like
Mm,
obviously you had the Catholic upbringing, so you
hmm
had some understanding of Yeshua, well, Jesus. Obviously didn't know Yeshua back then. They don't
hmm
call him Yeshua in the Catholic Church, do they? No,
No,
yeah.
just
But
Jesus, yeah.
yeah, but so when was it when you had that experience, did you connect that that was Jesus, or was that kind of just that feeling of love?
It was, yeah, it was just a feeling of love, because
Right.
obviously by that point 20 years had gone by, and
Yeah,
probably
right.
more than that I actually believed in Jesus. So
Oh, okay, gotcha. Right.
so it wasn't until I started searching online and these people were saying, it's Jesus, and I was
Right.
thinking, no, he doesn't exist, like
Yeah, right,
this
right.
is nonsense.
Of
Yeah,
course, yeah.
it was a bit like that.
Right, that makes sense.
So but then I watched one testimony,
Mhm.
and I think it was Brett Prince.
Okay, never heard of him.
I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Um, and he was describing a similar thing,
Right.
and and that really stayed with me, that one, because I was like,
That's
hold on a minute,
awesome.
he's come from the occult. He's
Right.
accepted that overwhelming loving feeling is Jesus. Maybe there's something
Absolutely.
more to this.
For
And
sure.
so, but it wasn't until I started praying,
Mhm.
that things got ugly, and then it was like proof, you know,
Right.
that was
Oh,
the
I
proof.
see. I see.
Mm.
So yeah, that the prayer triggered the
Yeah, I think I
responses.
needed the proof, to be honest. I don't think I
Absolutely.
would have
Yeah.
accepted it
Oh,
otherwise.
100%. Yeah, it's
Mm.
always based off of you have to actually experience these things and see it for yourself, because the conceptualizations of that, like just in the intelligence, in your
Yeah,
mind, it's not going to stick. It's not going to stick.
no, especially
And
after
yeah,
so long. Yeah.
oh, for sure, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's why I believe truly that Satan is used by the Lord to wake us up,
Mm.
to bring him
Yeah.
closer. Yeah, because without that, but of
Yeah.
course, so how did that kind of work out? What was the manifested symptoms of them trying to, I assume, would it's safe to assume that these are demons that you were tangling with? Would you say that they were infiltrated, into
Yeah,
you?
I think they kind of got angry,
Of
you
course.
know,
Yeah, when you were
whatever
praying,
was
yeah.
around me or whatever, I think they got angry. So I
Totally.
started to see a load of like satanic imagery. It was like it was sort of flying
Mm.
at me,
Oh, in your
Um,
mind's eye?
yeah, in my mind's
Oh, I
eye,
see. Right.
almost like
Yeah.
transparent coming to my face. And it was like the
Yeah.
satanic pentagram, all these weird satanic sigils. And I was thinking to myself, this is weird. I know I've said sorry for the witchcraft, but I've never done
Right.
anything satanic. What's all this coming at
Yeah.
me for?
That is
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and the house was just absolutely awful at that time. Like it was
Mm.
the energy in there, you didn't want to be in our home
Right.
at that
Right.
point. And because I'd gone back to the Catholic Church, because that's all I knew,
Yeah.
I knew I
Yeah, of
had to
course.
go somewhere. But yeah, so I went there. The priest came round and blessed, well, he didn't bless the home. He gave me a Bible and told me
Okay.
to walk around. My priest was quite unusual, actually. Anyway,
Yeah.
he gave me the Bible and he told me to go round. And I went round, all around
Nice.
the house.
Yeah.
And after the priest left and we sat down, we just felt this crazy peace. It was
Mm.
just so
Wow.
lovely. And we were
That's
like,
amazing.
wow, something's gone on, this is
Right.
cool.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
great.
but then still, we're still plodding on,
Of course.
and
Of course.
as
It
you
takes a
do.
while. Yep.
Yeah. And so it wasn't till one night, because I then started like going to the church, praying more, saying
Mhm.
sorry for all the different things. And
Right.
things were still like going a bit crazy at night, always at
Oh, I
night time,
see. Yeah. What
And
was if you don't mind me asking, what was the symptoms of like what was happening in your home that was, off?
feeling like my bed was moving. This is at like night
Oh,
time.
okay.
Feeling
Yeah.
like my bed is moving, feeling like things are touching me the whole time, like weights upon
Mm.
me,
Wow. Right.
But this one night,
Yeah.
because obviously the whole time I'm thinking, still crazy. I'm still here. I'm still crazy. It's just me.
Right.
But this
Right.
one night,
Yeah.
there was just this voice, and it just went, Michelle, really loudly, and it woke my husband up.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I said, did you just hear that? And he said, yeah, someone just called your name.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, well, this isn't mental illness, He's
Right.
somehow joint mental with me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So then Andrew started praying.
Awesome. Wow.
I think I can't remember if it was the next day or the next week, but basically my daughter wasn't well. She had a lot of operations and she wasn't walking, and she was now like 3.
Oh, wow.
Andrew prayed, and
Yeah.
Esme got up and walked across the room. And so it was just all
Beautiful.
this proof all the time, like, wow,
Absolutely.
yeah,
it shows that is definitely the Lord working there, and like the way that he woke up your husband too, to be like, for one, you're not crazy, because he's also hearing it too, and then your daughter, boom boom boom, like he's the master chess player.
Exactly. It was one thing after another, and
exactly.
Then I can't remember the next step after that, but yeah,
that's fascinating. So yeah, after the that experience, and then you started to, I guess you started to read the Bible, like, or was it something? Okay, so you then started to read the scriptures. So how long did it take for you to click that the scriptures were the inherent truth of God? Like this was legitimately the truth.
It was weird. I kind of just loved it.
Cool.
The Bible, whereas before, when I was a witch, I would sort of like hate street preachers and just hate,
of course,
anything read out from the Bible. It'd make me very angry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
common.
like a real like love, wanting to read it all the time, wanting to study more.
That's great.
It was
Can I ask, what did you read? How did you read the Bible? Did you read it?
I think I started with the Book of John.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you started in the New Testament.
Yeah, and then someone advised me, I can't remember who that was, to read the Book of Job. And so I kind of to start with when, and then I thought, well, with any book, I read it from the start to the finish, so I'm going to do that. And then I did that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny that most Christians, we don't, and I know that I just want to preface this as obviously starting in our walk, we were Christians, we self-identified as Christians, but then further in reading the scriptures and understanding things, you're like, well, no, we're more Torah observant believers. Of course, other people have different denominations, but this is who we both identify with, because it's truly, the reading the front of the book is very important, and reading the back of it's important as well. So all that comes together.
Definitely.
But the book of Job is very fascinating with how Satan petitions God on behalf and trying to get the souls of people. Oh yeah, big time. And then understanding about how the property rights work of like the jurisdictions that Satan's trying to, if you do certain things, deal with tarot cards, for example, that's like his property. So then you'll be able to, he'll be able to throw demons in you and stuff like that. So it just makes sense, right? Yeah, absolutely. So how so from the scriptures, like I'm curious, when was it that you became a Torah observant believer from your Christian faith and your belief in that?
Yeah, so around that time where things were like not good. I think it's because it was basically I still had quite a lot of sin that I didn't realize was sin. Because I was just like trying to figure things out. And so things started to happen a bit more because it was something that I don't want to say, but it was something that I'd given up, decided yes, that is a sin, and then for some reason decided maybe it is all right, so I went back to it. Everything kind of came in full whack,
yes, exactly.
And so I reached out for help on, I think it was like Christian Women's UK, something like that.
Cool.
On Facebook. And someone said to me, there's a church up in Scotland that could help you with that.
Nice.
So I got in touch with them, and they were Torah observers.
Awesome.
So then it was all stuff that we'd already, because we'd read the Bible, and obviously my past with like the pagan holidays and everything. It was all going in that direction.
Totally.
Anyway, so it was. Yeah, they were really helpful. And,
that's awesome.
And really great. Yeah,
for sure.
Really
yeah, it makes sense that people like Reformed New Agers like ourselves, that they would be drawn to Torah observance because, like, the Christian faith, like you said, they practice, Christmas and Easter and then the Trinity.
I couldn't understand that.
Yeah, exactly. Strange. Yeah, and you think of like the Trinity with the triune Godhead, and that resembles Hinduism and Egyptian gods and stuff. So it's pretty obvious very quickly that, and of course we're aware of Satan's devices too, right? So we're like, well, it's not a stretch to think that he would, use the Trinity as a means to kind of, and other Christianity belief systems to confuse people.
Because I think after that overwhelming feeling of love, I had such an aversion to anything witchcraft or paganism. It was like somehow I was being helped.
Absolutely.
To come away and go in the right direction.
100%.
So then going to a church where there's a Christmas tree, I was like, I can't.
I
can't. And I explained to them, because obviously I went from a Catholic church to a Baptist church, to then this Torah church. And oh, sorry, just seen a little spider. Distract me.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We were talking about the Christmas tree and the Torah observance kind of.
So I couldn't. I really had trouble with that because I think it's calmed down a little bit now, but I used to have like a bit of righteous anger about it.
Of course.
Calmed down a little bit now.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're all zealous at the very beginning of those.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, why did Yule and Yule involved this and this and this, and so why is this happening in your church, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and especially like having that kind of different perspective of like, because I assume that when you became a Christian, you kind of looked into the history of the church itself and like, the early, all that
Constantine,
stuff. And most Christians that are sort of, born into the faith through family and stuff like that, they don't really think of that stuff or look into it. So we obviously end up kind of being the ones that poke a little bit and people get upset. So yeah, it's just
Mhm.
kind of inevitable. And speaking of that, I just want to transition quickly into something, and I want to leave this to about 45 minutes, so we'll conclude soon. But I just want to mention, so how did you jump from, because this is an extremely important, there's like certain milestones in our walk when it comes to certain things we believe and find out about reality. And one of the main things that's extremely important in understanding, the world we live in. So when did you find out about the biblical cosmological reality of our world?
That's a difficult one because I think
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it was before,
Oh, was it?
in the before.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah,
Um,
just explain a little bit about that. Let's
well,
do.
when we lived in Hadley in Essex,
Mm-hmm.
there was stickers up
Okay.
in public toilets
Oh, no
saying
way.
research flat Earth and stuff like
That's
that. Google flat
incredible.
Earth. Yeah.
So
So
like guerrilla marketing. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So I
Yeah,
did. So I think back that sort of like planted the seed, I suppose.
totally.
Like oh yeah, I can accept that.
Right. That's
I,
amazing. I
so
love it.
so
Yeah.
then when we started believing and like looking into it all,
Right.
I probably with the researching as well because I do really research.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. Well, I've
it just
seen your
really
husband
like
and
opened up
your
the whole
videos.
Bible.
Yeah.
It was
Yes,
it was just
exactly.
amazing, and it's one of those moments where it's just like mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Absolutely.
wow, that's
Yeah.
so cool to think.
Yeah.
That he's
Oh, yeah.
there, we're here. I just I absolutely
Amen.
love it. I
Amen.
love it.
Yeah. And it's fascinating, just going back to Job for a second, like knowing the shape of the earth now and understanding biblical cosmology and then
Hmm.
reading Job, people are not gonna, if you don't believe in the biblical cosmological view of the world, then you're gonna be like trying to come up with, oh no, that's poetry, that's metaphor, that's it's not actually supposed to be taken literally. So you're just coming up with these reasons to assume that no, God is like this energy force out in the universe and all
Yeah,
that. But no, like when you understand that, it's like the reality itself is completely different. And
yeah,
like things are possible. And that's what's normal in our world when people think that, oh no, science is what's possible. What's proven through astrophysicists and people like that, like Neil deGrasse Tyson,
hmm
on TV. But it's more or less like no, fallen angels are real, the
mm,
giants are real, all these
yeah.
things,
That's
and
it.
it's
Yeah,
exciting. It's exciting, to discover the
yeah,
world you actually live in, right?
yeah. I think
But
the giants for me were more difficult than the.
yeah, the giant. I'm still getting because I'm only 6 months into it all, but yeah, it's definitely quite the journey. But
Yeah.
I think we'll end it here, Michelle. It's just
Hmm.
been a really great conversation, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. See if there's any comments here. If anyone's left anything, we have Wesley Curry who says hi. We'll bring up his comment here. Mentions actually because I don't know what he's talking about here. Jesus Christ told you to tell the vision. If you don't tell it, you do not believe Jesus is God. Do you know this man, Wesley Curry?
No, no.
It is time. Tell the vision. Tell the vision. Tell the vision. You shall not need the mark. Okay, I'm not really sure what he's getting on with. But anyway, we're just gonna skip that. We get some people commenting in with interesting things. So yeah, actually, we'll talk briefly before we conclude together. But I'll just sign off with everybody now. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in with us, and hopefully, Michelle, if you want to come on and talk about something else in the near
Yeah,
future, you're more than
anytime.
welcome. And also, I'd be interested to talk with your husband as well, or both of you
Yeah.
at the same time.
Oh yeah,
You
we'd love
also
that.
have a YouTube channel that I'd like to
Hmm.
ping. What's the name of that YouTube channel?
A
Um,
witch's way to truth.
oh, Which is Way to Truth. Yeah, and
Hmm.
your husband also has a YouTube
Yeah,
channel as well.
he is the love of the truth ministries.
Love the Truth Ministries. I actually have watched two of your videos on that, and it's an incredible introduction into biblical cosmology for anybody who's interested in learning more about that stuff. He breaks it really down really well. Uses some really interesting and great videos that I actually haven't seen. That's usually most of those are kind of repetitive. But anyway, yeah. So Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And till the next one, Yah bless and shalom. Bye-bye.
Bye.